Good morning! UPB October 16, 2014. It's a Thursday. We have earnings reports after the bell from Google and Capital One Financial SanDisk. But let's look at Netflix after the bell yesterday. A couple option millionaires, chat members were actually in the puts and they're going to be up handsomely. If you got into the 390 puts, they were $1. Probably going to be worth about $70. Imagine buying something for $1 and then the next day being at $70, being able to sell that for $70. That's the option market. We love it, especially heading into earnings when you have this spastic movement in stock futures and the bond market and the volatility index. It opens up the door for these type of moves and profit potential. So if a move, you got into 390 puts yesterday before the bell, you're looking at a $500 in a 35 grand type move, and that's what we're looking for here. We have Capital One Financial after the bell is broken through long-time trend line support from 2013. Goes pretty much to the Abenomics low. So we're looking for more weakness. American Express reported earnings after the bell yesterday. It's probably going to get sold off this morning in spite of some positive analyst remarks. So we're looking at charts like this really across the board where we're getting weakness and it's begetting even more weakness. So let's just see if we can get that pullback here that's after the bell COF. Looking for a move probably to about 72 to $70 after the bell. Although it's not as volatile as it's been in the past, we might not see any movement after the bell as much as we'll see tomorrow when the market opens for trade. The big one tonight is Google. And Google, I like the googl because it's got the long-term chart perspective. And you can see it's right at the precipice of either the sharp move to the downside or a move to the upside. I am Captain Ambiguous. But the great thing about trading out-of-the-money stock options, you can be Captain Ambiguous. You can. As long as the stock doesn't just go flat, we can look for a 10 to 15% move. I think the move is $23. It's about 5%. Let's look for the 10%. I'm already in the 595s. I'm looking to get some puts here down under $500. And if we get that move to the downside like we did with Netflix, we reverse course over the November earnings pop, we're going to make some money either way, up or down. It goes flat or 3 to 5%. To the downside or upside. We're going to lose money on both those trades, but I'm going to trade it small. I'm already small into those 595 calls that I might actually sell as the premium builds here into the close. We saw yesterday those options I got at $1.20, close at 160 in spite of a weak kind of recovery off the lows. We had the gap down, so we'll see what happens. To me, this level here, see these trend lines converging here? This is a key level. We're Google, if there was a time where Google's going to make that big move, I see all these trend lines, support and resistance coming together at the same point. We're setting up for a monster move. We're either going to rally here, make a new record high, or we're just going to collapse and fill this gap. So I love the Google trading out of the money puts and calls. That's the great thing about trading out of the money stock options. You can do it both ways. You don't have to go to court and get it approved or anything. You just do it. Just do it. It's like Nike, which has been doing pretty well. How about SanDisk? SanDisk has been soaring, been pulling back though recently. Broke through again, just like we're talking about with the long-term support levels for Capital One and Google. Been pulling back, and this looks rather bearish, okay? We put in a high and a lower high. We've seen these through most of the corrections since the lows in 2009. Very bearish. We're pulling back. Certainly, though, the one thing you look at, we're getting very oversold here. So maybe the earnings reported down over 2% yesterday alone. It's probably going to be down again today. The one thing, and look at this recovery off the $80 level, $4, a 5% reversal. So that would be the one thing to look for, and still down 2% on the session. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's down 2% here right now. We're about an hour and a half before the market's open. For some reason, I'm getting quotes from this morning. So the trade this morning is at 82.55. We close at 84. So we'll see today if we can get a bounce back up to this level. Otherwise, SanDisk is very bearish. Let's go back to Google for a minute because I just want to bring up the option market is putting in a $30 move. So that's about a 6% move, a little over 6% move. Actually, a little less. I'm sorry, 5.5%. So if you're looking for a trade here heading into Google's earnings report, I'm already in the calls. I got the 595s, which closed at $1. Oh, they were $1.10 by $1.30. I'm in at $1.20. I got it at the morning. Those dropped down to about 80 or 75 cents. But I'm looking to get in some puts, and what I'm going to look for is possibly, maybe we'll get into the 490s, but you can see the price action here. Okay, 20 to 30% move gets you down to 510. Okay, 30 would get you to 570. I'm just trying to figure out the difference between the calls and the puts here. So what I'd look for possibly is to get into a similar type contract here, maybe at the 475s. That's going to be a big move. I mean, in most instances, we've seen earnings reports from Google. It hasn't moved that big, but we've seen it back in April 2007 move 20%, and we saw it back in November. And a lot of the profit was made after the stock opened for trade. So it's something else to think about. You know, maybe not get into the option trade right here, heading into earnings, and then wait until the morning when the stock opens for trade and see a continuation of a rally. The last stock that we have reporting earnings, the last company, is GE that reports earnings before the bell tomorrow. And you can see it's broken out of a channel. Let me just pull up the long-term chart because a stock like this really deserves some long-term perspective. It broke down out of a channel, but to me, off the lows in 2009, it still looks like it's in a consolidating phase here, in spite of yesterday's 1.4% decline and the monthly loss that we're seeing down from the 25 plus level to 23.94. So we'll see if earnings can get this boosted up. And you can see, I mean, look how defined that is. This is the great thing about long-term charts. You could draw that trend line straight across, and the trend line here straight across. And so we're seeing the stock bouncing off support here. It's consolidating. And if you look in the long-term context of this is a bull flag, and we would expect to see a continuation and the stock to be over $30 in the short to medium term. All right, UPB here, optionmillionaires.com. Stock futures are off their lows. Volatile section, we have Netflix trying to get back over 340. I love that this morning. We'll see if we can get in for a bounce. But look at S&P 500 futures after this nasty waterfall-type sell-off here after the European Open here overnight. Is recovering its losses, putting in some sort of a W or an inverted head and shoulders pattern. We'll see if you can recover some of the losses here today. All right, I'll see you in the chat room. It's going to be certainly another interesting trading session. Congratulations, you Netflix put buyers. You're making out like bandits. Goodbye.